Adams, Adamley, Adamowski, Bueller, Burns, Burns, Burns.
It's time for school, Rock School, with your hosts, Dr. Joe Burns.
Talk to me about pay for play. There used to be a bit of this, but it seems to be the way of the business now. Do you run into that?
Oh my God, I'm running into it. I'm kissing a brick wall right now.
Class is in.
This is the Rock School Radio Show. My name is Joe Burns, and we are in the midst of our extended summer show. We do one each summer, and this time around we're doing interviews. 4 interviews in a row. If you didn't catch last week, we talked with author Greg Renoff about Van Halen. This is show number 2 of 4. And for today's show, we're going to be talking to guitarist Joey Sykes. Joey Sykes is a working musician, and he's going to talk to us about his new album, Classic New Rock. He's also the rhythm guitarist of the Babies, and what's going to be wonderful about today's interview, he's going to talk to us about what life is like for someone who works professionally in the music industry. We talk a lot on Rock School about royalties and about how it is for someone who's attempting to make a living in the industry. Well, Joey Sykes is actually in the industry. This is his profession, and he's rather open and rather candid about what the world of music is like. And you get to hear some great music from the man. So, for an hour today on our extended summer show, number 2 of 4 interviews, it's an hour with Joey Sykes on the Rock School Radio Show. So Joey Sykes on the phone, and first of all, let's start this off with a congratulations on the new album, Classic New Rock. Now, I listened to the whole thing through today and enjoy it. Tell me, how is it being received?
Well, thank you, Dr. Burns. Can I call you Dr. Burns?
Just call me Joe. I only force my students to call me Dr. Burns.
Right. Well, thanks, Joe, and I appreciate you getting through the whole album. I know these days people have they maybe get into a couple of songs and then, do something else. So I appreciate that.
So how is it being received? What did people think of it?
I feel like people, I think the key is giving it the time. I mean, if you give it the time, because I think it's a very diverse record, so I think in order to give it the proper, critique or review, I think you got to really listen to every song. And the people who do that, especially some of the people who have written reviews on it that I feel really got it, you could tell that they listened to the whole thing because they cited moments from, song 1 to song 12 or whatever. So I feel like the reviews are really good, so I'm happy about it.
Now, the single off the album is That's American Life, and you've got a little YouTube video going along with it. Tell us about it, and we'll kick off the show with that. Well,
it's just most of my favorite bands are, British bands and older bands, and such as the Beatles, obviously, and Big Star. I know they're not British, but like Badfinger, and just that kind of power pop sound, And I think That's American Life is pretty much my modern day version of that kind of music. And lyrically, it's just basically saying that sometimes there's a lot of negativity in the news and in the world, and the fact that we're living in America, you should be grateful because anything can happen pretty much at any time, and everyone kind of has a shot in their own way, and that's kind of what the lyric says pretty much.
That's American life. History will change before your eyes.
Hey, I noticed that you put the album together, at least in part, through a crowdsourcing site called Indiegogo. What is that, and why Indiegogo rather than sort of something better known, sort of Kickstarter, GoFundMe, that kind of thing?
Well, when I did it, I didn't have that much knowledge in those crowdfunding, which ones would be the best ones to use. So the reason why I went with Indiegogo is someone told me that you can keep whatever money you raise, as opposed to some of the other ones where if you don't reach your goal, the money goes back to the people who contributed. So I figured if I just set it at a certain, reasonable price, that if I even got close to that, it would be very helpful for me to do the record the right way. And it worked out like that because I really wanted to do it the right way. I wanted to print up vinyls. I always wanted to make a vinyl record in my career, and I never got a chance to. So I printed up 100 vinyl copies, which I'm really happy about. It's white vinyl, so it's kind of like my white album, and it's that was really cool. And I printed up a bunch of shirts and obviously hard copy CDs, and so that the crowdfunding really helped with that for sure.
Tell me why your remake on the album was the Raspberries Go All the Way, and I should tell you before you answer, I grew up in Cleveland, so these guys were heroes to me and my friends. Yeah, why the Eric Carmen tune?
Well, that's one of my favorite songs, and I had a version of it. I really picked it apart, and I did all of that by myself. I did all the vocals, and it's really hard to hear because on the original, the original recording, the recording is a little, it's not so clear. It's not one of those records where everything is clear. So I had to really dissect it. And I love harmonies, I love melodies, and that song is like 5 hit songs in one, and it's full of melody and harmonies, and I just always loved that song. So that's the one I chose. I know I could have went with a lot of covers. I wanted to do one cover, so that's the one I chose.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. Take an album and do one cover and do it really well. And I got to be honest with you, because when I saw it, I went to it and kind of closed my eyes and went, oh no, let's see how he does.
This is gonna suck.
Yeah. No, you really did it well, because that opening guitar lick that's got the fourth in it that really plays hard. I mean, you really recreated that well.
Well, I'm a guitar player by trade, so it helps being able to play guitar, to have an advanced ear at this point in my career and just kind of hear stuff, and I'm pretty good with that. So and obviously getting the proper tone is a big thing, and I use pretty much all old 60s guitars and amps, and really try to get authentic with it.
Kissed me and said, baby, please.
Here's a name, and I'm sure this comes up in every interview that you do. You are the guitar player on Meredith Brooks's song Bitch, which, I mean, went to number 2 on Billboard and top 10 in 15 different countries. Go ahead, paint the picture on that for us. How did you connect the dots and get on that single?
Okay, well, let me clarify that one. I was her touring guitar player, so I didn't play on that record.
Okay. Well,
so I want to set that straight. You'll get someone pissed off at me, but
but you
touring,
showed up on everything. I mean, every time she was shown playing, that's you.
Yeah, well, the live stuff, we did a lot of stuff. A lot of my bucket list stuff was done with Meredith Brooks. And that was from an audition. Like I was a straight audition, so it was like kind of a cattle call. And I think my background vocals got me the gig because I'm really have a strong voice for harmonies and stuff. And I did all of her female harmonies and sang with her and did all the guitar parts as well. And so I think that's what got me the gig. But with that band, it was crazy because my childhood dream coming from New York was to play Madison Square Garden, and we got to do that. We opened up for the Eurythmics, and that was just like, I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere after that. So for me, it was like, Madison Square Garden, Staples Center, Jay Leno, and a bunch of TV shows, and the band itself even was just incredible. It had Will Hollis, who's in the Eagles. He was the keyboard player. Herman Matthews was the drummer, and he's from Kenny Loggins to Richard Marx to Tower of Power, and just the band was just incredible. So that was a really, really nice time.
So do me a favor again. Paint that picture for us. You're a kid from New York, and there is only one, venue, and that's MSG, Madison Square Garden. From what I read, your mom sat, up front and looked up at you. Yep. What was the feeling playing the place?
Like when you're a kid coming from New York, probably from most places, but especially from New York, I started playing guitar when I was like 9 years old. So my whole life has been guitar. So when you're a kid, you kind of kid around. You say like, one day I'm going to play Madison Square Garden, and then everyone would just laugh because no one kind of really takes it serious, So those kind of moments came to mind when the tour manager said, we're playing your hometown, because I was living in California at the time, mm-hmm. and they said, we're playing your hometown, and I was like, where, I was all excited, and that's the one that was in my head, but I didn't think it was going to happen. Maybe it was somewhere else, and they said the Garden. I said, oh my God, it's crazy.
Was it
yeah,
everything?
She was there, my mom, and it was just playing a solo on that stage with is just so surreal. It's ridiculous.
Was it everything you thought it would be when it was over? Did you look back, I can die now?
Yeah, it was. I'm just glad I had a chance to do it because even I have a lot of friends who are pretty famous, and some of them we always kid around and say, yeah, man, you got me beat. I never played the Garden.
I've been hitting pretty hard lately. I'm a professor by trade, and I do a lot of look into how people are paid, how the music industry has moved to streaming and such. And let me set up a question here and see if I can sort of pick your brain about it.
Sure.
You're an established guy. You, as you've just said, you played MSG, Madison Square Garden. You're a known name. We're going to talk about your time in Nashville. You've been your songs have been in movies. You've been in television shows. However, your last album was a crowdsourcing event to get the album. What is the business like right now?
Right.
Tell me.
Well, it's by now I think everyone kind of knows the problem, but I guess there are still certain people who don't really understand, maybe because they might be of a certain age that don't remember anything else. If you're 20 years old, you kind of don't, or even less, even 15 or something like that, you kind of don't remember what it was, So it's they may look at it and go, well, what's the problem? When you explain to them how you just feel entitled as a music fan in 2016 to just receive the music, whether it's throw on Spotify or something like that. And you just, it's almost an entitlement, but it's not something I can blame you, kids, or whatever for, because they just don't know the other end of it. So to try to get them to get with the plan of like buying a CD or buying an album or even downloading every song on iTunes, which is, $12 or so, even that sounds like something that they'd be like, why would I do that? I'll just put on Spotify or I'll go to YouTube. And so it's just a model that's really, it's painful for the songwriter. I mean, that's kind of what I do. I'm a songwriter, so it's really hit me hard. I mean, I'm kind of one of the lucky ones that I do a lot of different things, so I'm able to make some money. But it's really hurt the songwriter, and deals aren't there like they used to be. There's no more like signing a record contract for $500,000 or something. Not that you pocket $500,000, but just money to make a nice record and do a video and maybe have a little bit of money set aside so you don't have to have a job and things like that. I mean, that's really what a record contract was for, in a modest sense, just so you can sort of label would say just concentrate on making a great record and go tour and stuff like that. So it's just different now. That's all. I mean, I don't really know I don't want to bash it, but I also got to call it what it is. So I don't know.
We need to take our first break here on the Rock School Radio Show. We'll be back in just a moment talking to Joey Sykes and hearing music from his new album, Classic New Rock. Back in a minute here on Rock School. That's kind of my statement that I've made on the air a few times. It's not a question of, living in hilltop houses, driving 15 cars, according to the Nickelback song, but, a musician wants to make a living at it in the same way that some guy makes a living putting a nut on the end of a bolt. Can it be done?
For me, it hurts a little bit because, to be honest with you, I'm such a music freak. Like, I do nothing but music full time, whether it be making my record or playing with the babies or developing a young 17-year-old and just, opening up my studio and writing songs for that artist. And so I do nothing but music. So for me, and I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm sure there are thousands like me, but like for me, who's so passionate about doing something good, like making good music. You'll never hear anything that comes with my name on it if I didn't personally think that it was good. Whether it's rock or whether it's something else I did or whether it was a song I wrote in Nashville, at least if my name is on it, I guarantee you it's at least good. Whether it's really good or great, that's subjective. But so I'm in it for the right reasons, I feel, and I put my time into it and I really try to do a best job I could do no matter what I'm hired to do, and that's where it gets a little painful because, you never get a chance to explain that. I mean, I'm on your show and maybe some people will hear that and think about it, but you can't go through your life explaining that and no one wants to hear it anyway. So it's just a little weird, but you gotta go with it and make something out of it.
Understanding what it really is.
ask you this question. You know, you talk about music being good, and that's the thing. So many people, you know, like you, are knocking themselves out to make good product, to make good music, and they're doing it. I work at a radio station, and I see the music. It's just piling in, but I also see all the students at my university, like you say, Spotify and earbuds in with the telephones and such. It's not even iPods anymore. There is no separate entity to play the music. Here's a question I have for you. Do you believe music even has any intrinsic value anymore, or should it all be free in the eyes of the customers?
Well, you know, it is what it is, so you can't really say whether you agree with it or not. That's just the way it is. The problem where, you know, like you could say like, well, okay, well, you should be performing your music, go around the country and play for people and have an interaction with the fans. And yeah, I agree with that, but who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for a band to go, you know, hotel rooms and flights, or just even getting in a truck or a trailer or whatever? I mean, so then you're stuck with putting your music out that people are listening to, and maybe you'll get a couple of fans here and there. And then what? You really want to play. Everyone, a million people want to play, want to go out and tour, but the money has to come from somewhere. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if there's any value in it or how people look at it. For me, music is everything. Music has been my life. It is my life, and I don't see enough of that feeling, that hardcore feeling, like I have, and I think you have, and I know a lot of people who have it, but I don't know. I don't know where the value comes in these days, honestly.
I've been holding on, junk inside of me. I gotta clear my history, or wipe it down, or throw it all away. I really need to make space. I won't remember half of what was
tell you what, I'll ask you one more, and then I'll jump off the topic. Talk to me about pay for play. There used to be a bit of this, but it seems to be the way of the business now. Do you run into that?
Oh my God, I'm running into it. I'm kissing a brick wall right now because basically, you know, I put out my records, just came out, and you know, I have a band to play, and it's a killer band, and I'm itching to play, and I still haven't played a show because I have to really think about maximizing, you know, because my whole album and its life is going to come out of my pocket. I don't have a label. It's me. So, like, for example, pay to play. If you have to promise that you'll play a nice venue and promise that you're going to draw 100 people, let's just put out a number, and they're gonna give you that many tickets and almost sell them to you. Here's your 100 tickets. This will cost you blah blah blah. So then you go out of pocket to own those tickets that you have to then sell. Then I have to, of course, pay my band. So it becomes, that's where the pay to play comes into play, and it's usually you'll lose money. I mean, I'll sell some records and shirts and stuff like that, and the venue will pay me a little bit of money probably, but that's where pay to play. So that's yet another instance where the band and the musicians have to invest in themselves, or hopefully something to come out of it.
Yeah.
I've been underrated, criticized the label, been suffocated, the joke at the kitchen table. I've had my moments when no one else could touch me. The king of nothing, the leader of the lonely. So many places to hide, most of them on the inside that you can't find. I'll go there when you just don't dare, but it's okay, it's just my safe place. I'll go deep where you just can't
On that note, let's talk Nashville. Now, you look, again, just from the bios I was sent, you look like you seem pretty successful in a town that, just from the list of people you've worked with, and, I don't know from it because I don't write songs, but I've heard and read that Nashville is really a place unto itself, and now you've worked L.A., you've worked New York City, so now you've got this city dead set, and I've heard that literally, I've said it before, but it's a place unto itself. Is that true? Is it sort of an island to itself?
It kind of is. It has its own unique thing about it that the way they go about songwriting is really like a day job, And it's not that they can just whip out a great song automatically. They work hard at it, and there's some really special writers there. I started going about 10 years ago, and I go pretty much maybe. I try not to miss, like every 3 or 4 months. I go for like 10 days at a time and just do like marathon writing trips. And I've been really lucky to have been paired with some of Nashville's, elite writers. Just it's always like one thing will lead to another, and this person will bring you in on something, and then you'll meet somebody out at a thing, and then you say, oh, well, I'm in town. We should get together and write, and that's how it is. But lyrically, if you go there as a songwriter, you start to go and see what they do, it really makes you a better lyric writer. That's the special thing that Nashville has is lyrically, when it's right, it is really special, and not a lot of other genres do it that way.
I got to believe, though, you have to sort of be accepted into the fraternity. You can't just show up, parachute in, and there you are. No,
you're totally right. It's very much of a, I say this with respect, but very much of a homeboys club, homegirls, homeboys club. In the way that they, they pride themselves for to doing that every day and living there, and not everyone lives there or can live there or even wants to live there. I mean, I love California right now. I'm from New York. I love California. That's where I live, and I love going to Nashville. So that's I think the reason they welcome me is I don't come with any kind of attitude. I come with a lot of ideas, hopefully good ones. I'm nice to everybody. I'm a musically, capable person, so they identify with that. I'm a producer, so I build tracks. They also like that, when you can kind of be, a track guy, or girl. I say guy, whatever. But so I think that there's different reasons why I would be welcome there, but it takes a while, and it takes some balls to fall the right way to really have them kind of welcome you and consider you part of that. And I probably am not even considered totally a part of it, but when I go, I have a really good source of people that I work with that I can always kind of make my way around there, and I know a lot of people there at this point, so it's great.
It's time to take our second break here on Rock School. We'll get back to talking with Joey Sykes, and by the way, catch him at joeysykes.com, where you can get all kinds of information about the man and find links to download his new album, Classic New Rock. Back with Joey Sykes in just a minute on Rock School. Well, let's move along. You are the rhythm guitarist of the newly formed Babies. Wally Stocker and Tony Brock are back with...
Crazy as that.
Yeah, they're out. Can you believe that? How about that? You are with a band that serious hits. Tell me about playing with the Babies.
It's amazing. I mean, I heard about it when they kind of started it up again about 3 years ago. Tony and Tony had spearheaded it or whatever. Tony and Wally, and then they wanted to make a new record, so they were looking for that song that evokes old babies, and someone who I knew that I was a big Babies fan, and said, "Man, you'd be perfect," because they knew I was a songwriter and a big Babies fan. So they're like, "You'd be perfect to write a song for the Babies." I wasn't even in the band yet, so I was brought in really just to help in the writing part of it. So then I wrote a track that everyone loved, and it was the first song, and then we kind of finished it off, and then they, after getting to know them a little better, and they liked my my vibe and my my look and all that stuff, and they said, "Man, why don't you just join the band?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
It's done that quickly anymore, just with a handshake and you're in, huh?
Well, if they think you're good, or they like working with you, or they like you as a person, maybe it happens like that. I don't know.
Talk to me about the new lead singer, the guy who took over, replacing out John Waite. John, help me out with the last name. Bisa? How do you do
Bisaha.
it? What is it?
Bisaha.
Bisaha. Tell me about
Yeah.
John Bisaha.
Oh, he's great, man. He's a great singer, great rock singer. He as well loves the Babies and loves John Waite. I mean, we all do. That's the thing about this whole reformation of the new version. There's no animosity. I mean, everyone loves John Waite. Everyone loves Jonathan Cain. Everyone loves Ricky Phillips, Michael Corby. I mean, there's no like, what are you doing? Whatever. I mean, they all knew about it. So obviously, Jonathan's in Journey, Ricky's in Styx, John Waite just wants to do a solo thing. I mean, there's no, you can only tell the guy, say, "Man, this would be great," and if he's not down with it for whatever reason. But he did give the new band his blessing. He always says nice things in the press, and hopefully he means it, and that's it. So he signed off on it, and is a fan of Tony and Wally to continue the Babies tradition and play those songs. Man, those songs are too good to be laying around when no version of the band is playing. I think those songs are iconic for power pop of that generation, of that era, and I think they deserve to be played. And the new band really plays them well, because we stick to the record and we put a lot of energy into the live show, and we got the background singers and the keyboard player, and we really honor that music. So anyone who comes to see the Babies, this version, it will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I saw your background singers. What are they, the Babyettes? Is that what you call them?
Babettes, they call them.
The Babettes, that's it, yeah. Now, you guys put out a 2014 album. I'd like to play some from it. The album's called I'll Have Some of That, and the single was I See You There, yeah?
Yeah, and I wrote that one.
You wrote it completely. It's all yours. You're the single author?
Yeah.
Wow.
100% awesome.
Charted pretty high, I guess so, but what we're going to do is play that for you. Tell me about what you see in your future, and then tell me about what you see as the future of the music industry. First of all, where do you think your future is? Are you just going to keep doing what you're doing? You looking good?
Oh yeah, I'm a lifer, and like I said, I mean, I'm music all the time, whether it's producing, writing, or performing. So I'm going to do one of those three things at all times. And you always got to hope that somewhere along the lines you're going to have a hit. I still haven't had a hit. That's the one thing I'm missing. Like, I have a great resume, and I've had a fortune to play with a lot of great musicians, legendary musicians. Even on my record now that I just put out, Kenny Aronoff, he plays drums on That's American Life, and he's a legend.
Okay, man, handicap the music industry. Where's it going? What's the future?
Man, that you got me on that one, because every time you think you know something, a curveball comes in, and you don't know what to make of it. I really don't know. I mean, the whole downloading and free downloading thing started so long ago at this point. When that happened, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm sure they're going to figure it out. you know, and it never happened. And I don't know. I think like streaming obviously is a big part of it. Just would be nice to figure out how to come to a happy medium where people can stream and songwriters can get taken care of a little bit and find it motivating to make it a career. Because I feel like there's a lot of potentially great writers and great minds who might not go into this field because they just get discouraged by, you know, what kind of business is that? So I think you end up alienating people who could potentially be really great, you know?
Yeah, I get it. Well, do me a favor. When you have your hit, Joey Sykes, do me a favor. Remember, you were on this show first. Come on back.
Colin.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for talking to us. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it, man. And I'll talk to you soon.